What if the life you're living isn't yours at all? Because from the very beginning, someone was thinking for you. Before your voice formed, before your hands chose, before you ever said no, you were already being shaped. You were never meant to think your own thoughts. You were given thoughts, fed beliefs, programmed with praise and punishment. And the worst part, it all looked like love. Parents, teachers, screens, prayers, every command sculpted the surface of your mind into something acceptable, something obedient, something hollow. You never asked to become what you are. You were shaped, not in clarity, but in confusion, by voices that weren't yours, by silences that weren't peace, by rules that didn't fit, but punished you when you didn't obey. And in all of this, you never saw the collapse, because it happened quietly. Inside, you weren't raised, you were formatted, and here's the truth that burns quietly beneath it all. Dark psychology doesn't always come with malice. It doesn't always mean someone intended to break you. It simply means someone did, even if they were broken too. Sometimes the ones who distort your mind are the ones who say they love you, and sometimes they're telling the truth, because love without awareness can still destroy. This is where the darkness hides, in repetition, in inherited habits, in good intentions used to silence inconvenient truths. Your parents, they may have just been repeating what was once done to them. Your teachers, obeying a curriculum that kills curiosity. Your religion, maybe it wasn't spirit, maybe it was just control with a divine label. So no, dark psychology isn't always a villain in a room. It's a pattern echoing through families, cultures, institutions, and gestures that feel like care. You inherited it, like a haunted house. Walls repeating commands you never questioned. Floors soaked in expectations you never chose. And in that inheritance, a version of you collapsed. Quietly, permanently, unnoticed. They called it growing up, but it wasn't growth. It was extinction. You weren't becoming stronger. You were becoming invisible to yourself. What survived wasn't you. It was a shell, a mask, a hollow layer. And that shell, that's what you now call personality. But it isn't. It's an echo of everything they told you should be. It smiles when your soul burns. It adapts, it pleases, it performs. But it never feels real because it isn't. It's not you. It's just what survived. You weren't broken. You were overwritten, not just by trauma, but by survival. You learned how to smile in pain, to say, I'm fine, when everything inside you screamed, to shrink your hunger so you could be lovable. And the worst part, you were good at it. So good that even you forgot what you buried. This is how the hollow layer forms. Polished, polite, productive, respected. But it's not you. It's what's left when you erase truth for the sake of acceptance. And the collapse, it didn't happen with a bang. It happened with a whisper. The moment you said yes, when every cell in your body meant no. The moment you stayed silent when your soul begged you to speak. The moment you complied because you feared the cost of rebellion. That's when the collapse began. That's when you lost access to the raw, unruly, radiant self you were born with. Because in systems built on control, freedom is dangerous. And people who love deeply but never healed, they often mistake control for care. So no, they may not have meant to distort you, but that doesn't mean they didn't. And this is the cruel beauty of dark psychology. It hides in care. It wears the mask of love. It echoes through generations as how things are, and no one questions it until someone breaks. You might be that someone. If you've healed enough, but still feel empty. If you smile through conversations, but feel unseen. If silence makes your breath feel fake. If you crave depth in a world that worships display, if you feel shame for wanting more than survival, if you suspect something inside you collapsed and no one noticed, this isn't dysfunction, it's exposure. It's your real self trying to return, but the hollow layer defends itself with schedules, with dopamine, with likes, with identity. It gives you just enough to forget what you lost. And most people stay there forever, performing wholeness while starving inside. But if you're still listening, you're not one of them. You're not supposed to fix the hollow layer. You're supposed to break it with silence, not noise, with subtraction, not addition, by whispering the most dangerous sentence you've ever feared to admit: I never wanted this life. Say it, not to impress, not to destroy, just to be honest. Say it alone, in the dark, when no one's watching, and when you do, you'll feel it. The air thickening, your hands trembling, your body resisting as if it knows. This is where the real you lives, beneath the hollow, beneath the obedience, beneath every apology you never should have made. And that version, the collapsed version, it didn't die. It was buried, dormant, concentrated, like a scream that never learned how to speak. It's still here at 2:17 a.m. when your breath feels rehearsed, when your reflection doesn't blink with you, when your skin feels borrowed. That's when it whispers, I'm still here. And that whisper is dangerous because it wants no validation, no applause, no stability, only truth. Raw, wild, unfiltered. Most never reach it because the hollow layer is elegant, it's rewarded, it's accepted. But you weren't made to be accepted. You were made to be. You will lose things. Friends who loved your mask. Jobs that fed your silence. Labels that comforted your performance. And you'll scare the people who taught you how to shrink, but you'll also begin. Begin what? Something terrifying. Something quiet. Something yours. A self no longer waiting to be permitted. That's why the hollow layer must die, not in anger, not in shame, but in sacred silence, because beneath its ruins, the real you isn't waiting. It's rising, not healed, but revealed, and when it stands, no one will recognize you, but for the first time, you will. If this voice found you, don't label it, don't explain it, don't even share it, just breathe, and let the collapsed version of you know. It was never supposed to die. It was supposed to return. Now it has. If you felt seen, even silently, subscribe.